Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Praise be to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has bestowed upon us His grace and blessings, enabling us to complete this final exam video for the methodology of Islamic Studies course. In this video, I will present a comprehensive summary from 12 group papers that have been presented throughout the semester. This summary is compiled to provide a true understanding of Islamic studies methodology from various aspects and approaches. The materials we will cover include epistemological transformation of Islamic studies, the role of religion in human life, dimensions of Islamic teachings, religious and religiosity research, Islamic universalism, source of Islamic teachings, Quranic exegesis, hadith, ijtihad, as well as the Bayani, Burhani, and Irfani approaches. Before we go to the journey, I will introduce myself. My name is Nur Hafid. I am from English Education Department at 4th semester and at UIN Kiai Haji Abdurrahman Wahid Pekalongan. Let me begin to our journey in understanding the methodology of Islamic studies more deeply. The first material is the epistemological transformation of Islamic studies. There are four key concepts that form the foundation of academic inquiry. The first is paradigm, the second is approach, the third is methodology, and the last is method. A paradigm is a basic belief system or worldview that guides researchers in viewing reality. Second is approach. Approach is the perspective or way of thinking in observing problems. And the third is methodology. Methodology refers to the internal logic and research design strategy. And finally, the last is method. The method is the systematically and applicable steps for collecting and analyzing data. The group also identified two aspects of Islamic studies: religious aspect focusing on the Quran and Hadith as primary sources, and scientific aspects requiring rational and empirical approaches. Historically, Islamic studies evolved through the development of four major disciplines: ilmu kalam or theology, which was born from political conflicts and developed into rational theological debates; usul fiqh as the methodology of deriving Islamic law systematics by Imam Shafi'i; ilmu hadith, which saw the codification of prophetic traditions during the time of Umar bin Abdul Aziz; and ilmu tafsir as the oldest scholarly activity in Islam. Key centers of Islamic learning including Nizamiyah in Baghdad, Al-Azhar in Cairo, Cordova in Spain, and Al-Qarawiyah in Morocco. The group also highlight influential figures including classical scholars like Ibn Sina and Al-Ghazali, modern reformers like Muhammad Abduh and Jamaluddin Al-Afghani, and contemporary thinkers like Edward Said, Faizur Rahman, and Muhammad Arkaun. And the second material is the concept of religion in human life. The word religion has multiple origins, from Sanskrit meaning not to go or something inherited, and from Arabic din meaning to master, obey, or repay. Harun Nashutian defined religion through eight key concepts, including recognition of a supernatural power, a system of conduct derived from divine power, and teaching revealed by God through prophets. The group identified five main functions of religion: guidance to truth, where reason is limited and revelation provides absolute truth; information about metaphysics, explaining matters beyond human perception; source of morality, providing ethical guidance and improving character; source of Sharia and worship, determining proper ways of worship; and confirmation function, ensuring existential and psychological needs. The roles of religion in human life are extensive, serving as a life guide and moral source, providing meaning and purpose, and uniting communities and providing social control, giving inner peace and psychological support, and shaping identity and preserving traditions. Religions are classified into two main types: Samawi or heavenly religions based on divine revelation, and Ardi or earthly religions based on human law and culture. Islam is identified as the only Samawi religion that remains pure in its original form. And the next is the characteristic of the dimensions of Islamic teachings. Islam is a comprehensive system of life consisting of three interconnected dimensions. First is the Aqidah dimension, the foundation of belief derived from the root word Aqada, that meaning to bind, representing one's faith in Allah, angels, books, messengers, the day of judgment, and divine decree. Practiced through taqwa by fulfilling God's commands and avoiding His prohibitions. Second is the Sharia dimension, the system of rules which includes ibadah or ritual worship, connecting humans to Allah, and muamalah or social interaction between humans, aiming to achieve maqasid al-Sharia, protecting religion, life, intellect, lineage, and property. Third is the akhlaq dimension, moral character that is multidimensional, encompassing spiritual, theological, and social aspect, reflecting the quality of one's faith through daily behavior. The group emphasized that Islam remains relevant in modern society because it is flexible and dynamic. The seven general characteristics of Islam, according to Yusuf Qaradawi, are Rabbaniyah or divine origin, Insaniyah or accordance with human nature, Shumuliyah or comprehensiveness, Al-Waqi'iyah or practicability, Al-Wasatiyah or moderation, Al-Wuduh or clarity, and the balance between tatawur or change, the sabat or consistency. And the fourth material is religious research and religiosity research. Religious research is a scientific study focusing on the core teachings of a religion, including scriptures, doctrine and theology, religious law, and the concept of divinity. It is normative in nature, based on belief, uses theological approaches, and focuses more on text than social practice. Religiosity research, on the other hand, focuses on the practice and behavior of religious adherents, examining social religious phenomena, using empirical approaches, and aiming to understand social religious realities. The group identified 6 models of religious research. The normative theological model focuses on religious sources like the Quran and Hadith from an insider perspective. The historical models views religion as a phenomenon that develops in time and space. The sociological model sees religion as a part of the social system. The anthropological model positions religion as a cultural system focusing on rituals, symbols, and local traditions. The phenomenological models understand religion from the believer's perspective without judging right or wrong. The interdisciplinary model combines the various disciplines because religion is a complex phenomenon that cannot be understood from a single perspective. And the next is religion and universal ideas. This material focusing on 4 key concepts: universalism. Islam emphasized that Islam is an eternal, universal religion for all humanity with principles including universal risalah, teachings that align with human nature and openness to all people regardless of race, ethnicity, culture, or gender. Fundamentalism Islam refers to movements that attempt the return to the basics of religion by interpreting texts literally and rigidly, often as a response to social, political, and cultural pressures, tending to reject pluralism and contextual interpretation. Islam exclusive interprets the Quran and Hadith literally and textually. Believers' salvation is only through Islam and questions the authenticity of other scriptures. Islam inclusive takes a contextual approach, emphasizes ijtihad for contemporary challenge, acknowledges the possibility of salvation outside Islam, and stresses universal values of justice, humanity, and tolerance. The group also discussed Islamic science, the integration of science with Islamic spiritual values, recognizing the truth is not only empirical but also metaphysical, and that the universe is full of signs pointing to God. This approach does not reject modern science but seeks to integrate it with spiritual values for a more complete understanding. And the next is the sources of Islamic teachings and their characteristics. The primary sources are Al-Quran as the direct word of Allah, consisting of 30 juz, 140 surah, and over 6,000 2,000 verses, functioning as hidden or guidance, Furqan or distinction between right and wrong, Shifa or healing, and mu'izah or admonition. Hadith includes the words, actions, and approvals of Prophet Muhammad SAW with three functions. The first is strengthening what is in the Quran. The two is explaining the Quran's teachings, and the last is establishing new laws not explicitly mentioned in the Quran. Ijma is consensus of scholars divided into ijma syarih or explicit and ijma sukuti or implicit. And qiyas is analytical reasoning requiring four elements: al-ashal or the original case, al-far'u or the new case, al-hukum or the ruling, and the last is al-ilat or the reason. Ijtihad involves exerting maximum effort to derive rulings through methods including istihsan, maslahah mursalah, istihab, and urf. The characteristics of Islamic teachings are Rabbaniyah or divine origin, Insaniyah or accordance with human nature, Shumuliyah or comprehensive, Al-Waqiyah or predictability, Al-Wasatiyah or moderation, Al-Wuduh or clarity, and the last is the balance between change and consistency. And the seventh material is Quranic exegesis or tafsir. The word tafsir linguistically means explanation, clarification, or unveiling, and is mentioned in the Quran in Surah Al-Furqan verse 33. Terminologically, tafsir can be understood in three ways. First is based on function as the science of explaining Quran meanings. The two is based on subject as explanation given by someone with specialized knowledge, and the last is based on product as the result of interpretive work. The functions of tafsir include explaining vocabulary and meanings, facilitating understanding for the public, serving as a life guide, preventing misunderstanding of the Quran, extracting laws and wisdom, and adapting understanding to contemporary conditions. The historical development of tafsir passed through several phases. The prophetic period, where the prophet himself served as explainer, the companion period with scholars like Ibn Abbas and Ali ibn Abi Talib, the Tabi'in period, and finally the codification period. The group identified 5 models of tafsir research. First is tafsir mawdu'i or thematic focuses on focuses on specific theme and gathers all relevant verses. The two is dirasah fi rijal al-mufassirin, studies as a particular exegesis do. The third is living Quran studies, home communities practice the Quran. The fourth is manuscript or philology, studies ancient manuscript. And the last is dirasah al-nas, or text study analyzes textual features and meanings using linguistic, semantic, and semiotic approaches. The methodology of tafsir has evolved from the classical period's reliance on tradition of the modern period's contextual approach. And the next is hadith as a source of Islamic teachings. Linguistically, hadith means something new, news, or recent events. Terminologically, it encompasses everything attributed to Prophet Muhammad SAW, including his words, actions, approvals, and personal characteristics. Hadith consists of 2 main elements. The first is sanad, which is the change of narrators connecting the hadith to the Prophet, and the last is matan, which is the actual content or text. Research on hadith is crucial because unlike the Quran, which is transmitted mutawatir, most hadiths are dhani wurud or probable in transmission, requiring rigorous verification. The group identified 6 models of hadith research. The first is the classical model, focuses on tahrij or locating source. The 2 is jarh wa ta'dil or critique of narrators. The third is sanad continuity and matan criticism. The fourth is the Mustafa al-Shibai model, text and apologetic approach, combining classical sanad criticism with historical and intellectual arguments. The fourth is the Muhammad al-Ghazali model, emphasizes matan criticism using 4 criteria: no contradicting with the Quran, stronger the hadith, establish historical fact, and proven scientific truths. And next is the H.M. Quraish Shihab model, uses a contextual approach linking hadith to universal Islamic values and social conditions. the Al-Iraqi model, and the next is the Al-Iraqi model, focuses on tahrij with systematic analysis of both sanad and matan. And the last is the contemporary model integrated social sciences, hermeneutics, and maqasid al-sharia for contextual understanding of modern issues like cyberbullying and hate speech. And the main material discussed about ijtihad as a source and method. Ijtihad linguistically comes from jahada, meaning. The meaning is exerting effort beyond the ordinary. Terminologically, it is the total effort of qualified scholar to derive Islamic rulings from detailed evidence. Requirements for a mujtahid include being Muslim, mastering the Quran and its sciences, understanding hadith and its sciences, knowing Arabic language rules, and having knowledge of the relevant subject matter. Methods of ijtihad include qiyas or analytical reasoning, ijma or consensus, istihsad or preference based on public interest, maslahat al-mursalat or consideration of benefit, istihab or presumption of continuity, and urf or customary practice. The urgency of ijtihad lies in its three functions. First is returning teaching to their original sources, reviving Islamic values, and the last is reforming previous rulings that may no longer be relevant. The legal status of ijtihad results is that they are not binding on all Muslim, but are binding for the mujtahid who perform it. They are then or probable rather than qat'i or certain, and they remain open for reconsideration. The group emphasized that both the Quran and Sunnah serve as the foundation for ijtihad, with Sunnah having five functions toward the Quran: strengthening, explaining, specifying general rulings, limiting absolute rulings, and establishing new laws. And the next is three fundamental approaches in Islamic studies: the Bain approach, and next is the Burhan approach and Irvani approaches. The Bain approach, derived from al-bayan meaning explanation, is a method oriented toward religious texts emphasizing linguistic analysis and interpretation to derive proper understanding, systemized by Imam Shafi'i with sources being the Quran, Hadith, Ijma, and Qiyas. While it preserves the purity of Islamic teachings, it sometimes struggles with new issues not explicitly mentioned in text. And next is the Burhan approach, derived from al-Burhan meaning strong proof, emphasizes reason, logic, and rational argumentation, developed with the introduction of Greek philosophy into the Islamic world, using demonstrative methods that are objective and verifiable, with sources being reason, empirical facts, observation, and logical reasoning. Key figures include Ibn Rushd, Al-Kindi, Al-Farabi, and Ibn Sina. While logical and objective, it tends to neglect spiritual aspect. And the last is the Irfani approach, derived from Arafa meaning knowing deeply, emphasizes spiritual experience, intuition, and inner reflection with knowledge obtained through divine illumination after spiritual training, focusing on inner meaning behind outer meaning. And key figures include Imam Al-Ghazali, Ibn Arabi, Jalaluddin Al-Rumi, and Al-Hallaj. While deep and spiritual, it is subjective. The group concluded that these three approaches complement each other, and modern Islamic studies require a balance between textual, rational, and spiritual understanding. And next material is explored contemporary Islamic dynamics. Contemporary Islam is an effort to understand and implement Islamic teachings contextually according to modern developments while maintaining the Quran and Hadith as a primary sources. Characteristics include being contextual, rational, dynamic, and open to ijtihad. Applications span various fields in economy and Islamic finance. We see Islamic banking, takaful, and halal markets, and adaptation to fintech, including e-wallets, pay later, and cryptocurrency. In education, there is interconnection of sciences, eliminating the dichotomy between religious and general knowledge. In technology and digital media, we find digital dakwah, fikih al-informatika or ethics of digital media, and combining hoaxes and cyberbullying. In law and social life, there is religious moderation or Islamic wasatiyah, and fikih al-bi'ah, or environmental jurisprudences addressing ecological crisis. In health, there is Islamic bioethics concerning IVF, cloning, organ donation, and euthanasia, as well as spiritual healing. Challenges facing contemporary Islam are both internal and external. Internal challenges including polarization of true-textualism and radicalism. External challenges include secularism, liberalism, and the global moral crisis of consumerism, hedonism, and individualism. And the last material is examine regional studies of Islam, viewing Islam as influenced by geographical, historical, social, cultural, political, and economic conditions of each region. Islamic studies in the West originated from Orientalism, initially driven by theological and political interests, but later developing into more objective academic studies. Characteristics include critical, empirical, and multidisciplinary approaches using history, sociology, anthropology, and other disciplines. Key figures include Edward Said, who critiqued Orientalist bias. Islamic studies in the Middle East developed from traditional mosques and madrasah centers, with key mosque institutions including Al-Azhar in Egypt, universities in Saudi Arabia, Qom in Iran, and Turkish institutions. Characteristics include normative theological and textual tendencies, emphasizing Quran, Hadith, and classical works. Challenges include tensions between tradition and innovation, politicalization of religion, and curriculum gaps. Islamic studies in Indonesia is unique as it bridges both approaches, developing through three main pillars. The pesantren tradition uses textual normative classical approaches with Sorogan and Bandungan methods. PTKIN or UIN uses integrative scientific approaches like integration, interconnection, wahdatul umum, and pohon ilmu. And the third is Islamic organizations like NU and Muhammadiyah use contextual social ijtihad. Indonesian Islamic studies is known for being moderate, inclusive, and contextual, accommodating local values without losing Islamic identity. In conclusion, the study of Islamic methodology encompasses a vast and interconnected field. Throughout this semester, we have explored the epistemological foundation of how we study Islam through paradigms, approaches, methodologies, and methods, and how this study has evolved historically from classical to modern times. We have examined the nature and role of religion in human life, its functions, roles, and classification into Samawi and Ardi traditions. We have understood the core dimension of Islamic teachings with Aqidah as the foundation of belief, Sharia as the system of practice, and Akhlaq as the manifesting of character. We have learned the methodologies of research, distinguishing between religious research and religiosity research, and understanding various models from normative, theological to interdisciplinary approaches. We have studied the sources of Islamic teachings, including the Quran, Hadith, Ijma, Qiyas, and Ijtihad, each with their specific roles and functions. We have explored specialized fields like tafsir for understanding the Quran, Hadith research for verifying prophetic tradition, and Ijtihad for deriving rulings for new issues. We have understood for three complementary approaches of Bayani, Burhani, and Irfani, which provide textual, rational, and spiritual understanding respectively. We have examined contemporary dynamic of how Islam applies in modern context from economics to technology and the challenges it faces. Finally, we have studied and religional differences in how Islam is understood and practiced in the West, Middle, and Indonesia, each with unique characteristics. The common thread throughout all these topics is that Islam is a comprehensive, dynamic, and adaptable religion. Its teachings are grounded in revelation, yet open to interpretation and application according to changing times and contexts. The study of Islam is not merely about memorizing texts, but about understanding their meanings, context, and relevance to human life. As we have seen, Islamic studies requires as a multidisciplinary approach that combines textual analysis, rational inquiry, spiritual reflection, and contextual understanding. This holistic approach ensures that Islamic teachings remain relevant and meaningful for Muslims living in diverse times and places. The methodology of Islamic studies continues to evolve, incorporating new approaches and responding. I think that is enough for me. Thank you for watching the videos and see you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.